everyone. Thank you for joining myself and Alyssa for this webinar called Beyond Revit, Take It to the Cloud. Just a quick intro. So Alyssa, say hi.
Hi everyone.
Okay, so Alyssa is in our BIM specialist in the AEC space, and I'm in mining and civil infrastructure. And today we're going to take you together through taking things beyond Revit. Okay, so just to look at a quick agenda. So we've realized that not many people know exactly what our company does. So we're just going to do a quick 2-slide intro on who Baker Baines is. Then we're going to get straight into why BIM 360, how it's going to help us and stuff like that. Look at the challenges facing our industries. And then, of course, you're going to see a live demo between myself and Alyssa showcasing docs and design in action. Okay, so let's start off with Baker Baines. All right, so who we are literally the gold partner in South Africa for Autodesk, and we specialize in architecture, engineering, construction, process plant, power, manufacturing, civil infrastructure, and mining. So you can see we provide services to basically all segments in industry, and we also have got quite a lot of Autodesk subscribers. We specialize in Autodesk CAM, so guys that are in more manufacturing space, you should know what Autodesk CAM is. We provide training, so Autodesk, all your civil 3Ds, your Revits, all of the main hero products as well as the standalones, we do training on them. We partners to Adobe, which is a detailing software for structural, CAD learning, which is an awesome tool for online learning, as well as our new partnership with Devitech IDIS, which helps stormwater and water design. It makes it much more better and easier to do. We're also a HP hardware business partner, as well as TopCon in terms of mining, construction, and geospatial solutions. And for any entrepreneurs out there, we are a BE level 2. So in terms of our industry segments, like I said, architecture, building and construction. So we deal a lot of, in fact, in South Africa, this is our current biggest leading technology industry, where a lot of adoption has been taking place and people doing really, really cool stuff. Great designs here in South Africa, and we are broadening into other segments as well. Civil engineering and infrastructure, so all your roads, your highways, tunnels, all of those type of things, bridges, we help customers achieve the designs much more better. In terms of process plant and mining, so all of your scanning equipment, so we provide scanning as a service, so we do terrain scans, interior scans, and then we process it and we give you the model. In terms of PDM, so product design and manufacturing, so all of the industries that are dealing with heavy mechanical components, exploded diagrams and stuff like that, we specialize in this as well, and we've got the best people in-house to help you actually achieve this. And of course, we as Baker Baines, we fit in the center there, helping all of these segments collaborate and integrate with each other. Okay, so that was just a quick flash intro on who we are and what we do. So let's delve into what we are here for today. Why BIM 360? So a lot of people don't know or haven't heard of BIM 360. It's a cloud platform which makes collaboration, especially if you're in the design industry, much more better, easier, streamlined, and better focus in terms of getting to the end of the project, right? So I'm just gonna hand you over to Alyssa. She's gonna just tell you about the old way of thinking, and we'll just jump in and out as the presentation goes.
Okay, so the old way of thinking was just being kind of designated with a computer and your software, and just having that desktop and technology of such to draw and draft and collaborate via those methods. And we used to then have a file which we send to our consultants depending on your project team and how you guys are working. That file is compiled in your office and sent through to whoever may need it. Okay, and that's sent through via email or any other kind of FTP site, Dropbox. So that's basically the way that we're currently, a lot of companies are doing or sending or sharing their information. Okay, so that's the old way of thinking. Okay, so we have a little evolution process going on here, and I'm just going to quickly jump through this. So basically, if we all know Charles Darwin and his theory, so essentially that's coming, if you relate it to kind of drafting fields or architectural construction fields, we can relate it to coming through from the drawing board and hand-drawn information, and then moving on to CAD, which is more 2D kind of base software, but still on a computer or a desktop, or a little bit of advanced technology there. And then we moved on to BIM, which is 3D modeling and building information modeling, where you put intelligent or information into these elements and they know how to work intelligently. And the last one, which we're going to talk about today, is basically taking that we've kind of now got to and pushing that onto the cloud. Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, these are some of the kind of a summary of what BIM 360 does, or what are some of the functions that it has. Okay, things like safety management, quality management. Although we are speaking about BIM 360 docs and designs today, which is a component of BIM 360, these are the other bits of information that we can also see that it has. Okay, so that's the two that we're focusing on today, which is document management and design collaboration. Cool. So I'm gonna take you back to Schwabe.
All right. Hi guys. Okay, so we're gonna look at the challenges that we face in design and data. So if you just have a quick snapshot of this, I mean, this must resonate with anyone that's on this webinar today. We always have problems with this. I mean, we always had the problem where you sent an email or a design via PDF, and then the person a week later says they hadn't received it, either gone to their junk mail, or your attachment was too big and stuff like that. Then there was some other issues like viewing the file, people don't have the software, all of these type of things. And as you can see, we more or less put it into little blocks here, so it resonates with you. And these are the issues that we are actually trying to solve. And this is what BIM 360 actually addresses very, very well. Okay, so just to give you some feedback so that we're not talking out of our own pocket here, this was a study that was done by IDC, and it's titled The High Cost of Not Finding Information. And we found out that a person or a designer, whoever's behind the design desk, they spend quite a lot of time looking for stuff rather than doing the work. So 2.5 hours per day, or let's say 30% per workday. Imagine just searching and searching and searching aimlessly and not finding the correct revision, the latest report, the latest drawing. It's quite a nightmare. And if you add it up in the business sense, it's a big knock in terms of productivity and making you work much better. Okay, so today the common problems we're going to be solving, and what you're going to be seeing myself and Alyssa do, is BIM 360 talks and design, and we're going to remove this fragmented approach to data storage integration. And what that means is we're going to use a single source of truth, being one central document repository where we can actually put things in there, and we know the entire design team functions around one central point. Another crucial thing is the security and permission control. A lot of the FTPs or other services that we do use, there's not really a really good secure permission control or security access given to it, meaning that if you share it with someone and if they have to copy that link and send it to someone else, your data has become more or less distributed to people that you might not want it to be. In terms of lack of version control, this is the most common one we come across, revisions, right? Especially the old-time struggle between architects versus structural engineers. We don't know who's on the latest version, when it was updated. That column was there yesterday, it's not there today. Those type of things. I mean, if you could track those things in a much better way, I mean, you actually enjoy doing your design. And then, of course, that all boils down to communication and collaboration. If we all are on the same page, things will be moving smoothly. Okay, so current project, this is a bit of a nightmare, but it actually looks like that. I'm not going to read exactly what's on there, but if you just have a snapshot view of it, it's not a smooth circular movement from start to finish. There's a lot of bottlenecks, lack of communications, back and forth, reviews, rework, extra times in the office where you gotta hit a deadline because your process or your current projects are not set up and use a methodology that's quite easy to adopt. And in terms of the solution that we're showing you today, this is more or less centralized around the cloud. So again, BIM 360 is a cloud application. It's not desktop based. You just log in with your email and your password and everything is online. So it makes it much more secure because everything is in one central source of truth. Like we said, you can assign permissions, which you're going to see later. Tracking versions becomes so much more simpler and you can collaborate in real time. So you can collaborate over your phone, be it Android, Apple. I mean, it works on various platforms and it's much more easier and connected. Okay, and this is what we want to get you towards. A smooth circular way of doing a project from start to finish. Everyone knows what they're doing, how they're doing it, and getting the project done before time rather than running overtime, which is a common case here, not only in South Africa, but throughout the world. Okay, so just in a nutshell, we've got the data, which is always in the center of all the projects. And depending on the data, we render services around it. So, and these things are attached to various objects such as identities, your renderings, permissioning, viewing, all those type of things. And thereafter, Autodesk have provided solutions where you could use their connectors and cloud applications to help you facilitate that data in the correct way. And thereafter, you can also integrate it using Forge with custom APIs, and you can get your work done much more customized to your working environment. So you can see the full-scale solution is more or less done. But again, I'm going to hand over to awesome Melissa. She's going to just tell you about the workflow a bit.
Awesome, Melissa.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, so this is the basic BIM 360 workflow from concept to kind of maintenance and handover and things like that. So a lot of you guys in the construction industry will understand these kind of phases or these kind of stages. And we can see how each of the products in BIM 360 slots in and fits in with regard to those phases. Document management, I'm just going to quickly go through some of them. Document management would be used throughout the whole the life cycle of the building. So from concept to maintenance and handover as well. Okay. Design collaboration will only fit in somewhere in between when the actual design is heading off after the concept stage is done and after the handover, somewhere in between handover and commissioning. So that's where the two items that we're going to talk about slots in. Okay, then we have this little slide here. So if I just quickly get that going. Okay, so we have these different components, BIM docs or BIM 360 docs, and design, glue, and build. So basically this just shows you that design, glue, and build is built onto docs. Okay, so what that means is if you have docs with regard to licensing, if you have docs license, you have the hub and the platform in order to manage your documentation. If you then require a licensing for design, glue, or build, the docs component is basically built into that, or rather the design and glue and build is built on the docs platform. So if you have those, you immediately have access to your document management hub. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Shweb.
Okay, cool guys. So we'll give you a good intro. The reason why we do the intro is to create an understanding of why we're actually doing this. And it's better than just diving into something, not really realizing what you're solving or what problems you're addressing. So hence, myself and awesome Melissa, we've actually give you a good intro to show you exactly what's the benefits and what's the good thing about actually applying cloud technology to your design processes. So now we're going to jump into the good stuff. So the action, so all the formalities and intro is gone. We're going to jump into docs and design. Okay, so all the projects normally start off on docs. So let's have a look here. These are just it's a snapshot benefits of in terms of what docs does. The critical thing is the tracking and of course the version control. Really, really cool, really easy to manage and very visual in nature. So these are the benefits in terms of that, just very quickly. And then let's go start a project from scratch. So if you weren't at our past event, this is a good webinar to attend because it will show you from the start of a project right to the bottom. And we've created our own project here in South Africa. It's not generic, it's custom made by us. And if you're from Joburg, you would see, you would be more or less familiar with the place that we're using, right? So let's go to project creation. So I'm going to hit add, right? And this is what pops up in BIM 360 docs. So once you log in, you can actually populate this data in terms of your project, right? Forgive my typing, I kind of suck at it, I'm very slow at it, but as you can see, what we've done is we've generated various asset cards. Okay, so what this does is it populates the design project with as much as info as you can need. And why this is important is if you're doing a ROI analysis, so return on investment in terms of all your projects done over the year, you could pick up some similar information about them. Also, in terms of tendering and stuff like that, the more you can populate on a project, the better. Some of the fields are actually mandatory, so the ones with the asterisks next to them, like project name and project type. But in terms of the address and stuff like that, you could actually skip that. But we strongly recommend that you do it. The reason being is when you have a project done, you could see all the data in its raw form and you can actually customize it. So you can see we're dealing with Sunny Hill here, right, Santon? We've chosen a spot there and we can actually construct a building on that. And what we're doing here currently is just setting up the project contents. We're keeping it English, right? Because that's better. And then, of course, you can actually attach in terms of an image. So gonna attach just a random image there just to keep your project. So if you have a site picture or something like that, you can attach it, and then that's done. Once you created it, you'll see it tells you your project file has been profile has been saved, and then this is where we're gonna activate the document management. So as you could see in the initial screen, design was available as well because we're gonna be demoing that as well. And I'm just setting myself up here as the project administrator. What this does is, like we said, permissionings. We can set up different hierarchies in terms of permissions, and we can actually take it from there. So you can see the project has been created, and as I log in, currently it's only me, but you're going to see soon I'm going to be able to add more people to the project. Okay, so it's as simple as that. If you can use an email address or you can log another login system, this is going to be super easy. Okay, so the next thing, now that we created the project, we are going to be actually generating a folder creation or folder structure. So people using servers will be very, very familiar with this part of things. But as you can see here, currently, now that I set up the project with all of the data, everything is displaying it, even showing your location. So if you look here, for example, it shows you where you are, the weather for or forecast for the coming days, those type of things. And there's also certain asset cards that will be populated as you're doing, right? So as we can see here, if we log into the document management part of it, just gonna load quickly, here we go, right? It currently has two default folders called plan and project files. These can be renamed, but just to show you some of the options here, we've got permissions, we've got title blocks, which is a big one. And then of course, we've got project files where we have more or less come to an understanding that it's your work in progress. So anything you're doing beyond that point, it's going to be stored there. And then you've got different types of tabs such as reviews, transmittals, and issues. You can see the asset cards are currently empty. So for example, it says create an issue, you have no issues left. That's because we haven't attached any data yet, right? So how easy it is to create folders is simply as right-clicking and adding your own folders. So we're going to be dealing with civil, architectural, and structural today. So we're just gonna, again, don't hate my typing, but I do type really slow. We're creating those folders as simple as just right-clicking and adding your segments in. Again, you will have your own custom folders. The cool thing about this is once you create a template, you don't have to go and create these folders over and over again. So as you can see, I'm demonstrating that you can even create subfolders. We've heard of a project in the UAE where there's about 10,000 folders on the system. So the capabilities of the software is really great. And another benefit is it has unlimited storage. So there's no cap. You don't have to worry about your server running out of space or syncing it every time. It's cloud collaboration. That's why we say the benefit of it is live tracking and collaboration, which is a really cool thing. Okay, so that's just the folders that I'm creating. Again, You can see I made a typo here as usual. Normal day for me. Don't laugh, Alyssa. But this is what happens, right? But just if you do make a mistake with the typo, you can always go back and edit it. So we created one for Revit files, and of course we're gonna dump in some structural Revit files as well. So again, it works really well with Revit, but we're gonna show you the file compatibility across the board. So civil, structural, architectural, you're gonna see all of them today. And then just to show you that I can edit it, and you people are laughing at my typo, I'm just gonna go and edit that very quickly. Right, take that big I out there. Here we go. And that's done and dusted. So we've got our folder structure done, and you can see it has been populated. Okay, so the next part of it is to adding people to the project. So who are you going to be working with, collaborating with, that type of thing. Okay, so here we are. It's currently me at the moment. I want to do all the work. So as you can see, you get a notification by email to say, hey, your project's set up. Please go to your project. So Sunning Hill Office Park is up and running. You can see it on the top as well. And then from there, we're going to add members. So you can group them by companies, services, profiles. The easiest one is using members, right? So we're going to add in some stuff here. So we're going to use Yanni as our client. So cool thing about this is you can only give the client view access if you'd like. So if you just want them to have an idea of what's going on, but not editing anything, this is your platform. And of course, I'm going to add also Melissa, right? She's going to be the architect, right? And we just giving different company names. So developers, structural, and architectural. And as you can see, you can define custom roles. There are populated roles already to make it easier. And then, of course, if you look on the right-hand side, we've currently setting permissions for current things, and we are not going to give the client anything so they cannot edit our stuff, which is going to be a nightmare. Okay, so we've done it. We assigned 3 members. As you can see in the top right corner, the members have been assigned. Everyone's on here. Happy days. And that's it. Okay, so that's more or less what we're going to do there. If you go to the project home, you'll get more insight in terms of what's happening with the project and stuff like that, but we're going to look at that next. Okay, that's the dashboard. Again, like I said, everything's really cool. We got an asset card library, so you can populate stuff. So if you look here, these are already built in because dashboards have become very popular with managing stuff and integration of a lot of apps. These are just some of them that can be linked to the platform, and all of that can be populated as you're generating the project and so forth and going on like that. So as you can see, if you want to go Fahrenheit, you can, but we're just keeping it degrees Celsius for now. Okay, so the most controversial one, or the one that gets a lot of people talking, is the permissions. So I'm going to show you very easily how to do the permissioning. So you see we've got different disciplines working on a project, and it will be only right if structural dealt with structural stuff, civil with civils, and so on. So we can add custom attributes if we'd like, or we can toggle on columns off and on, as you can see here. How do you add an attribute? Simply by clicking on it. You can enter maybe design by, and then you can use one of those options there. So if something's due by a certain date, you can use a date picker. If not, you can add the type in field where you can add in stuff. So as you can see, so I'm going to be the civil engineer here. Currently having access levels. If you do forget, just hover over the icon. It tells you exactly what permission has entitlement to what. Very easy, simpler, and we can use a drag system. So we made it very lazy because we are millennials, right? Both of us here. And it's quite much more simpler to use. So we can be setting different permissions. As you can see, I'm assigning myself to the civil folder. And from there, we're going to add in Alyssa as well, right? So you can see here, it picks up that we have added her as a member. And depending on what I want to give her access to, we can specify different ranges of permissions depending on that person. But just for the purpose of this demo, and I'm going to be nice since it's a Friday, going to give her full access. And then we're going to assign also structural. So we've got also, I think it's Mark that we're going to be adding in here. Let's just type it in quickly. Again, don't curse my typing. Here we go, Mark. We're going to add him in there, and he's going to be the structural engineer on the project. So you can see it's very, very easy to use. I mean, if you can use a smartphone, you can literally use this. It's so much more easier. And of course, you can always add and remove members as and when you need to. All right, so let's get into the actual design part now. So I'm going to show you the collaboration. So we're going to upload a site. So just to give you context, every project starts off with a site. And what I'm doing here is I'm defining this using Autodesk InfraWorks. So civils, you should know this software. If not, drop me a message after this. I can help you out. But what we're doing is we're defining the project area. So again, this is using Autodesk InfraWorks. So we're working in that area there in Sunning Hill. And we're going to give our model a name. So again, Sunning Hill Office Park. And as you can see, you've got roads, buildings, imagery, and elevations on the top. It's going to pull in all of those data that it could find on the engine that's built into it. Okay, and we're just going to create it. So I'll get a notification to say, okay, your model's going to be created. And this is our BIM 360 profile. So as you can see, it's already integrated. It's Sunning Hill Office Park. And on the left-hand side, you can see my model has been generated after a few minutes. And we're going to open it. Okay, so let's have a look at it. It's gonna just load for a few seconds. And here we go. Very visual, 3D, looks really nice, better than 2D lines. Um, Much more easier to navigate. And as you can see, it's a really good model. It has the imagery attached to it. It's got some 3D features, picked up the roads, terrain, and believe it or not, there is a terrain attached to this. You just can't see it because of the image. Okay, so now that I've generated it and it's on our model, we're going to log into BIM 360 Docs. Here's the file here for InfraWorks, and this is the cool thing. This is the viewer on the cloud. I don't have the software on my machine. I just logged in, and as you can see, it opens the thing directly. This is our location where we're going to be placing our building, all right? And like I said, if we want to add in markups and stuff like that, there's tools here. So if you've used Paint, I mean, it's literally like that. There's no other way to describe it. So we always use mostly revision clouds. I'm just going to put in a revision cloud there, and this is a markup. So what we're doing is we're taking out that whole process of printing something, marking it up with a pen or highlighter, scanning it, and then emailing it to someone. There's just too much time and things get lost on the way. So no matter where I move in the model, and if I click on a markup, you can see it zooms to that position. So it's really cool if you've got a huge model. You don't have to worry about scrolling forever to find that thing. We're going to publish this markup. And now what we're going to do is we are going to assign an issue. So we want someone to fix this, okay? And as you can see, we're going to place a pin. So that pin will be a notification. It works like a ticket system. So you can see the status is currently open. Again, I will not tell you who's typing. It's probably Alyssa, right? Right, so you got that. We're going to assign it to someone. So since I'm the civil lead on the project, I assign it to myself. And I'm going to give it a due date, which is really cool, July 5th, right? I think we in August now, but I'm really behind time here. But there's the owner, and the cool thing is this was added last week where you can define a root cause. So why are you reviewing it? So in this case, it was a code compliance that I've used. Again, it's really nice when you're doing project tracking for return on investment to see what's the most common thing that's popping up that's slowing down your project across your different disciplines. So for example, here I'm looking at we need to import the latest topo or topography, model it to grade, and then we're going to hand it over to Alyssa, and Alyssa's going to put a building on there. So we can attach things here very easily, type it in. Please don't type as slow as me. Click create. And once you do create it, you can see it has created an issue. So Alyssa will get a notification, or the person assigned to it will get a notification. Again, as I zoom out from the model, if I double click on the issue, watch this, it'll zoom in directly to the place that you need to sort out. Again, you can see the issue is open. You have different options where it can be answered. So the person that you assign it to, they can answer back, and there's a whole log file. That's what you're seeing there. That's been generated. So no one can say that you haven't issued it. So again, we are dealing with that fragmented data problem where we're doing everything in one single source of truth. So now that we have it, we're going to go check the issues. So if you go click on the platform and you go to the issues tab, you can see there's one issue that's outstanding. It's a design issue. And if you open it, all of the information is on there, right? It shows you the model, all those type of things, and then you can actually go and type in a response. So I'm just gonna go with that just a tad bit. Okay, here we go. Right, so I'm answering here. So once we're answering, I'm going to say, okay, cool. We've imported the topo and graded it. So you can add in whatever you'd like. Again, you have an option to attach attachments. So if you site-based, you can actually take photos, attach it to this. Then we're going to say answered, right? And then closed. So once the person gets it back, the person that assigned it, they can be, okay, cool, it has been sorted out. Alternatively, they can say, no, it's actually still not to spec. And if you got a nice person, they'll be telling you comments like looking good, right? And once that is closed, it is closed, right? So as you can see, the spec has been achieved. We click done, and that's it. So this is a full tracking system. I mean, you don't have to go and clutter your emails and work on FTP sites. Everything is in one central point. And as you can see, there's 2 comments made on there, and it makes it much more easier. Okay, so I showed you how opens various file formats, and that was quite a big model. In terms of publishing documents and creating transmittals, let's look at that quickly. So again, we are creating a transmittal, so we've uploaded those files. The really cool thing here is the data title block extraction. So what this does is, once you upload your final drawings or your drawings that you wish to submit, you can define a title block from the PDFs. Because let's face it, whether you're civil, structural, architectural, doesn't matter. We always more or less issue in PDFs, and it makes it easier for the person to view. So as you can see, we've got a PDF here. You can see our Sunninghill Office Park is there. We've got a drawing number. And what we're doing is we're telling the software to use its OCR, optical character recognition technology, to look in that portion of the title block to extract the information automatically. And what this does is it automates so much of things for you. Rather than you going and populating this yourself, copying and pasting the same title name and then changing elevations to sections, it takes a lot of time, and this just streamlines it much more better. So we're defining the information that it's going to be actually scanning. And as you can see, we've got more attributes that we added: project number, drawn by. All of those are custom, so you can add it to yourself, right? And then from there, whatever information you want to extract, we're going to click the save. Again, these title blocks are saved onto the system. So if you're using the same title block over and over again, and the information is spaced in the same position, you can actually use this over and over again. So it's much more better. Again, we're attaching it to a architectural submission, and then from there, these files are processing, and here we go. So it's extracted. Again, the bigger your files are, it might take much more, a little bit longer than what you're seeing here, but just for the purpose of the demonstration, we kind of sped it up. But it is really quick. You just need a nice stable internet connection and you're good to go. So here we are. It has extracted all the information from the title blocks. You can see it picked up everything perfectly. If there's something that doesn't look right, you can always go and edit it from here. And once we published it, you can see the files are publishing at the moment. Just give it a second. It gives you a log. So you can see it was PDF files. There were 4, and then here we are. The cool thing is the versions are all in version 1, so revisions, it'll be very easy to track on here. And from there is as simple as creating a transmittal. You right click, you give it a name, and then you can assign it to someone. So we're going to send it to the structural engineer, Mark. Mark's going to get the architectural layouts, and from there he can do his detailing, right? If you want to add any other documents or you want to filter it out, you can do that simply by doing the checkbox. If you want to add a message, you can as well. So we can enter more or less what we want. So it's going to be the first council submission. Once that's done and dusted, click create, and that person will get notified either on their phone, on their app, or on the email address, push notifications directly, so everyone is on the same project loop. So you can see already how much time you've saved because everyone's using one streamlined workflow. If everyone's here on the system, be it from finance to commissioning to construction, everyone can be added onto this system. Okay, so that's the part where the civil and structural is gone in. Now we're going to bring in also Melissa for the design part, where we're going to go take the building, do some stuff on BIM 360 design, and show you how much easier it is using cloud work sharing. So Melissa, over to you.
Cool. Hey guys. All right, so just quickly on BIM 360, before I just discuss the slide in front of us, BIM 360 design is more for Revit users. So if you're kind of familiar with work sharing or just Revit itself, then these slides are for you. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind. So a few things that we can chat about is basically, or the few functions that BIM 360 design covers is issue tracking, kind of like the issue tracking we saw just now, the usual insights and analytics, controlled work sharing, change visualization, team collaboration. That's a few of the things that we're going to chat about. Okay, so I'm just going to go through some just quickly on the work sharing aspect of it. We'll discuss it a little bit later on as well, but essentially Revit users can create what we call a central model if you want more than one user to be working off of a Revit file. So essentially this could be done through your server. That would be a local way of doing work sharing where 4 or 5 people can be using the central model and working off of it at the same time. But essentially what happens, and this poses a question too, what happens if our project team is distributed? So things like our engineers, architects, project managers, whoever that might be on that team. What if these guys are in different countries, or even our own office, the guys in the same company? What if we have offices situated throughout the country? How do we then collaborate in a more efficient way? Okay, so just leaving that question in kind of up in the air, we'll answer it in a bit. Let's take a look at how do we set up a design. Okay, so we're going to set up the project location and permissions. So essentially each project team in the project will have their own folder in which you can set permissions so that nobody's snooping around, no structural person is snooping around in the architectural folder or vice versa. So we don't want that to happen, okay? Because people can be a bit sneaky sometimes. So let's just get this going. Okay, we can see we can add some teams there. I've added the architecture. I'm just adding the structural team. And I can specify where their folder for their models and their Revit model shall be created. So you can specify the path. Right now I've chosen project files, architecture, and structure. And for each team, I can manage the members. Okay, because I'm project admin, I have this amount of control, and I've added a bunch of people in there. And let's add Yanni in and not give her all of the control, just to view only because she's the client. We don't want her editing anything. So adding her on there, and you can remove her if you needed to. Okay, and you can do that with whoever else you may need. You also have an option there to delete any teams that or deactivate teams that are no longer needed on the project as well. Okay, so that's how you would set up some of the folder structures or permissions for folder. Collaboration and publish settings. Okay, get that going. So within Revit itself, we can hit the Collaborate tab and check out the publish settings before we actually publish to the cloud. Okay, so we can check the sheets to see what we're publishing, whether we're publishing a 3D view or what views do we want on there. Okay, that's me just checking it out. I save and close. All right, and then when I'm happy, then I'm going to hit the first Collaborate. Okay, and there's the local work sharing and through BIM 360, so I'm choosing the latter. And then I have access to the hub. Okay, so that's our hub, and I'm looking for the project folder, the one that has been given to us, and I can initiate work sharing or collaboration via Revit. Okay, so that might take a while depending on how your internet speed and how big your file is as well. So that's got uploaded there, and if we ever need to track versions within Revit, we can hit Manage Cloud Models, choose our appropriate project folder, and just have a look at whether it's uploading or not, what version it is, or if I want to redo a publish, I can do it via Manage Cloud Models. Okay, so I'm just going to close Revit or the project and show you where you could open a new local file off of that work shared file that is now sitting on the cloud. Okay, there would be a BIM 360 icon that you would find under open, and then I could find my project file here. Okay, I won't open it, and just to show you guys where to go to. If I check my document management portal, I can see under my architectural folder that I've got the Sunning Hill Office Park architectural model going. Okay, again, I don't need Revit to view this. It's an online viewer that kind of makes it a little bit easier to handle on the cloud. Okay, along with the sheets, the 2D information and the 3D information that we've published. Okay, so it makes it a little bit easier for clients, especially to view this kind of information, especially if they don't have the software. A typical example would be the Yanni that we added to the other folder, who we said that she can only have permissions to view, but she might not need to edit the project. So essentially, clients can view progress on published models as well. Or, your project team can just check what's going on, an updated model that is published every Friday or every month or so on. Okay, so let's look at creating, sharing, and consuming packages. I just want to quickly explain what a package is because you're going to hear that a lot and it's a weird term. So essentially a package is, it's almost like a submission. A formal kind of submission. It could be anything really. It could be for tender or it could be a formal submission just to your project team. And this includes 2D information as well as 3D information. So it would include the model along with sheets or not if you do not require any kind of 2D information. So let's take a look at this. Okay, this is us just in the design collaboration space. It's been activated and I have the architectural space in front of me. I'm checking out the project model. Okay, that's the model that I had published earlier. And it's got the sheet set and 3D information that was published. Okay, so if I just check the timeline or the project teams at the top, there's a big line that has a timeline on when a package was created, when it was shared, and when it was consumed or opened and accepted by a project member. Okay, so let's create a package. All right, so I've clicked create a package and I could select what information I want to, what this package should be composed of. So selecting the sheet and the model. Cool, I can review the information if I need to change anything. The little icon on the top that I was just pointing to shows you, it indicates whether the information is shared, created, or consumed by what color or the dashed information on the circle. And I can then delete, show changes, or share the model with whoever it might be. So we can name the package that's going to be sent out to the project team. Okay, so I'm naming it Council Submission. And we'll keep it to the first issue to Council. Okay, the rest of the team needs it as well. So we won't add it to a document set. Okay, that's us sharing the package. And you can see the circle at the top is now a solid color. I can explore or reuse the package for another submission. Okay, now I'm just going to switch over to structure as if I was the structural person receiving the package. So that's me just being the structural person. Okay, I can check the timeline and realize that somebody's shared a package. I can click the package, review and explore it, check if they made the changes that they said that they would. And if I'm happy, I can then click on consume. Cool. That's us just consuming the package. We're not eating it, we're consuming it. Okay. Cool. So we'll just wait for that to load. Is that it? Okay. Let's check our document management portal where all our documents are saved. And if I check the folder in which we've now consumed, so under the architectural folder, there's a consumed folder as well as under the structural. Okay, and in this consumed folder, you would find the information or the package that you've now consumed. Okay, think of it from a project team aspect where your project members, say it's an engineer, a structural engineer, or whoever it might be, can't jump into your folder to grab your model. So you have to publish that model to them and they consume it so that they have that information stored under their folders for them to kind of grab anytime that they need to. Okay, so let's jump onto cloud work sharing. Although we kind of done cloud work sharing, if you're not too familiar with what work sharing is, this is something that we can quickly chat about. Okay, if anybody's kind of known Revit or uses Revit, you'd know that two people can't work on Revit at the same time unless you've created a central model. Okay, you can create a central model and store it on the cloud or on a server. And this is what happens when you actually do that. You can share information between two people or work at the same time on one model. And what happens when you're on conflict or working in the same area? You need to ask for permission to actually move something if somebody else has ownership of it. Okay, that's how you would kind of manage what gets modeled and who's working where in the project model. It's a little bit more complex than that, but this gives you a basic idea of what would happen with regards to those permissions and requests between two employees. Okay. And what happens when we link in Revit models? So how would that work if our model is on the cloud? Right? This is a little something, okay, to show you what we would do. So we would just go to manage links as per usual. If you guys are familiar with adding in Revit links, we're clicking on add and we're navigating to our desktop connector and our folder where our models are shared or stored. You could essentially do a link, a Revit link that is live, okay, and a Revit link, a Revit link that is also kind of indirect, rather, okay? A direct method and an indirect method. A direct method is basically linking in a Revit file that maybe your consultant is still currently working on. So as they make changes, you'll see the changes in your model. And the indirect method is basically using the consumed package that was sent by the consultant to then link that into your Revit model. And obviously that needs to be updated every now or so often. The benefits of the latter is you have a model that's not changing constantly. Because I mean, essentially, if you have a live working model that's linked into your Revit model, you might see changes that are unnecessary and get a bit scared. So that's why there's actually those two methods of Revit linking, but those links are stored on the cloud as well.
Okay, so that's about it. I mean, as you can see, we went from start to finish, setting a project up from scratch, and we kept it local. So local is Lacquer. We did the Sunninghill Sanson project. And as you can see, from the document inception phase right till the final model that you saw, which included the structural elements, the plinth, as well as the architectural facade, we've came to the conclusion from start to finish that everyone used the same system and it worked amazingly. And the cool thing is we always put this slide in here to say that it's literally a project in your pocket. And the reason being is you can use your phone, your iPad, your laptops. I mean, the collaboration is quite amazing on this thing. Okay, so I know there was quite a bit of info to take in, but just to conclude, I mean, the solution speaks for itself. I don't have to sell it to you or to drum it into your head. If you're a designer, you should have seen the benefits straight off the bat. But you can see we can do permissions and storage control much more effectively. Tracking versions is so much simpler because it automates that for you. You can collaborate in real time like you saw a project in your pocket. And of course, there's a one central source of truth being the cloud, and everything is secure, stored, and good to go. So yeah, that brings you to the end of our webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope it was very insightful. Again, I know it is a lot of info to take in, but we are very active in the roles that we play as design because Alyssa and I, we really love what we do. And if you want to keep in contact with us as Baker Baines, those are all our handles. And if you want to follow myself or Alyssa, you're more than welcome to on LinkedIn. Our email addresses are there as well. If you feel that we want to cover maybe a certain topic that's bugging you in the design office, you can always pop us a message. Or if you just want to say hi, happy Friday, I mean, we're more than welcome. We're very chilled with that. So, again, thank you very much. Have an awesome Friday ahead and a good weekend. And yeah, have a good one.
Thanks, guys.